All right, Chambers, you set up the next one, so why don't you do it?
All right, another one of our recurring bits that we have going on here, fan favorite, and it is which is better. So today we're going to be asking which is better between tabletop gaming or video gaming. And you know what? It's good for this because Brian didn't do a lot of tabletop gaming, but he did do one game that he was completely obsessed over.
Yeah.
So I think he can actually add his 2 cents into this one.
Yeah, so Jim's referring to HeroScape. Admittedly, tabletop gaming was completely foreign to me. When I heard that term back in the day, I strictly thought just atypical Monopoly style board games. And then I came into HeroScape through our mutual friend Matt, who introduced all of our college buddies to it. And for those of you who don't know, you create your map with 3D pieces, and then you have the actual like figures, and then you have like stat cards. You roll dice, yada yada yada. So very involved game. A ton of pieces. The setup alone could take, depending on how many people you played with, like 2 hours plus. And then that led me into like, oh, what other tabletop games are out there? And knowing that there's now a whole world out there, I was like, Jesus Christ, like it's insane and intense. And it was just a world I never knew nothing about until I played HeroScape. But like all my obsessions, when I get into something, I get into something. So to Jim's point, he's absolutely correct. So if I'm comparing tabletop to video gaming, man, I do absolutely. There's something you get, especially if you get one of the involved games with tabletop gaming, that you'll get a level of commitment and nerdiness is the best way I'm going to describe it, that you can't get with other. I mean, you can get with other hobbies, but if somebody's going to commit to sitting there and building a map for 2 hours, then you know they're into the game and they're going to take the shit serious. Unless you got random buddies, which we would have from time to time, that would just be like, what the hell are you playing? Okay, I'll try it out. That's both a plus and a downfall for me because we would have buds that we would get so pissed. We'd be like, take your fucking turn, because a game would take 5 hours because the guy would be like, what am I doing? Like, he would not be paying attention. And now you're like, I just want to finish the game now. Like, it would piss you off royally. And Jim, you know who I'm talking about.
All I have to say is, I can throw myself into this one here. Thank God when we played this game was before the takeoff of smartphones. Thank God.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so that was one of the things that I think it can be good and bad. Now, if you're hardcore and all your friends are hardcore, you won't get that issue. But I think that nature alone will always limit tabletop games, aside from the perception and the amount of work you have to do. Video games, the ease and availability to pick it up, play, and even if you have buddies, like a lot of our college buddies, we have some friends who moved to Florida, some that moved across the country to Seattle. Like, we have friends literally all over the country, and we're still able to connect and play a game together because of video games. So because of accessibility and obviously the variety of video games, like what you can do, I love that. But man, if you want the most in-depth, customizable, and that personal, like, you do get a different feeling playing something physical next to your buddies. Like, you get much more visceral. Jim always lost, especially if he went against me. But if he would, if he would even get a good piece, he's like, I don't even fucking like this. Why do I even get this? It's just gonna go out and die, because it relied on dice rolls, which is one of the reasons why I start getting the nickname Brian Bullshit Quinn, because I would roll 20s abnormally high.
Fucking bullshit.
And Jim would get extra mad because we would get certain pieces and they would come with specialty dice, and he would always try to say, you can't use that dice. That dice is bullshit.
This cocksucker would have an army of low tier army, common army pieces. Not even the good ones. He would just have the awful ones. And I would have a
Jim,
team.
why don't you equate it to chess pieces so more people know what we're talking about? Say I have a bunch of pawns.
Fine. Brian had a whole team of pawns, and I had a whole team of queens. And my queens would just fall by the wayside, one by one by one by one. because of bullshit dice rolls. Fuck defense dice rolls. Just goddamn it, I don't have enough luck to get away with having to roll for offense and defense.
So there's memories and things you can do with a tabletop game. You'll never get that same feeling with video gaming. I have to go with video gaming, but man, it's a lot tougher for me than I thought it was going to be. It's really close. Because of Jim and I have kids, our friends have kids, everyone's separated. The chances for us to ever do a tabletop game are really slim.
Yeah.
Maybe when my kids are older and I start doing that with them again, that can actually be like a little family thing. We play whatever. But yeah, it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. But for right now, my answer will have to be video gaming, strictly for accessibility and the ease of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the smart answer, and let's be honest here, the right answer is video games because of all the reasons you said, and especially in the advent of online gaming. Just, because here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing I always got from tabletop gaming was, and like I said before in earlier segments, I played Magic tournaments. I played some Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, and I was obsessed with HeroClix for a good couple years. And I would go to a local comic book shop every week on a Tuesday night to play in, like, the local weekly tournaments. And, like, the memories you get from actually sitting there, spending all week strategizing, trying to make your army just right for the format that's going on there. And whether you're going to a tournament and playing against random people, or you're playing, like we did with Hero Escape with our buddies, it's like, it's the memories and the shit that you talk about and you remember to this day, all these days later. Like, I've had good games in, say, Call of Duty where you you're in the shits and you come back from behind by some crazy amount and you're like, yeah! But it doesn't stick with you. But when you have, for good and for goddamn bad, when you have these memories from tabletop games,
they'll never go away.
They don't go away. And even to expand on this a little further, you have the games out there, because I know you don't have to play with friends. Like, there's places like the Game Workshops chains where the people can go and play like Warhammer together. I think that's the big one there.
Yeah.
And even a memory I have from that is walking in there asking for HeroClix, and they went, we only play real games here. And I went, fuck all of you. Fuck you and fuck Warhammer, you fucking nerds.
Yeah, video game fans get bad rep, but man, those people who do tabletop games are the worst.
They are the hardcore of the hardcores.
Because you know what, Warhammer, that goes back to my customization thing. You can sit there and hand paint every figure, and there's a lot of games. Like Dungeons and Dragons is always the easy go-to. But like,
that's something I always wanted to play, but I never got to. I never got into D&D.
But you can like customize, like my understanding is like you customize like what they're actually able to do as long as everyone agrees to the rules. Like, so you really do make it your own. It's like, think of it like PC mods for tabletop games. Like, you can sit there and do what you want. And that's my point, is like the visceral feeling and the strategy and all those memories. Even if you beat a video game that was super hard, you can just say I beat it, but like the memory is so shared with everyone else that what happens in a tabletop game with a dice roll, especially, it's like that was completely unique to you. There may be other people out there who have a story similar, but that is your story for life. Whereas millions of other people beat Super Mario 3 on the hard, you get my point. Like,
right.
So that's why I'm saying, that's the only reason I'm saying it's so hard to say that video games are better, because that is the easy answer. But for people who do tabletop gaming, I think it's closer than you would think.
And for anyone who says tabletop is better for these reasons, I can't argue with it.
Yeah, I could understand it. Like, I do have buddies actually I work with who still do tabletop game and talk to me about it, and they're still entrenched. And hey, God bless them. They still have groups of friends that they get together on the regular, still do it. If you're able to do that, then I think that probably would be your preference. But if you're like Jim and I or anyone else, and if you never had accessibility or did it, then yeah, you'll never understand. And it's, yeah. But I would say if you're someone out there who genuinely has a good imagination and can get over the fact that you're sitting around building maps and whatever.
You're being a dork. Just embrace it.
Just embrace it. So, Yeah. I like that topic, though. Good job, Jim.
Yay! I'm gonna roll this one.